Isaac Keith Martinez, and welcome to Isaac's Haunted Beard. I would like to read a prepared statement. Due to my strong personal convictions, I wish to stress that this film in no way endorses a belief in the occult. Michael Jackson. That's how Michael Jackson's Thriller starts. Michael Jackson's Thriller is the greatest music video of all time. I believe that, and a lot of other people believe that, and I think that I would like to spend some time singing the praises of a video that holds up very nicely. Not only does it contain great dancing, it is a horror film. Not only is it a horror film, it is a horror film within a horror film. And it is directed by John Landis, the director of An American Werewolf in London, which is my favorite werewolf movie of all time. But get this, even though that is my favorite werewolf movie of all time, Michael Jackson in full werewolf makeup is my favorite werewolf of all time. Because I just love that mask. Not only that, you think, oh man, being the coolest looking werewolf of all time, that's good enough. No, not for Michael Jackson, because he one-ups himself by later in that same video becoming the coolest zombie of all time. Yes, my favorite zombie of all time is not the zombie that fights the shark in Lucio Fulci's Zombie. It's Michael Jackson in Thriller. I like to spend some time talking about Thriller from beginning to end. Now, when I talk about movies, usually I show the DVD. I didn't really know what to show, but I can show this. Michael Jackson's Thriller has been available through the years on different sets, but I think as of right now, the best set any Michael Jackson fan can get is this one. It's called Michael Jackson's Vision. I'm not sure how well that's going to pick up on the camera, but I will say this. It's a really cool cover. It's got all these little boxes, these little squares with pictures of Michael in different videos, and it's a lenticular cover, so when you move it, it shows him moving. And when you see him move, you can practically hear him going, yeah! Shut on it! Okay, so this is actually the second time I've done a video that was Michael Jackson centric for Isaac's Haunted Beard. I did the Wes Craven one last season. Okay, so the video starts with that opening statement. Due to my strong personal convictions, I wish to stress that this film in no way endorses a belief in the occult. Okay, I'm going to make fun of Michael, but it's with love, okay? By expressing how much love I have for Michael, I want you to know that now when I proceed to nitpick this video in a fun way, it's not coming from a point of hate. It's a point of love and it's a point of fun. Okay, so first of all, really, Michael? You pitch this video and then you're just like, did you lose sleep over? You're like, oh, I just don't want anybody to think that I believe in the occult by making this video, you know? And if you didn't write that, is there a chance that someone would watch this video and go, great, now Michael Jackson believes in the occult? No, I don't think so. Although, I love that it's there. Because I love how out of touch you were. I love what a unique little bubble that you had. I wish I had your bubble. That you would think, oh, maybe they'll think that I'm into the occult. And you're like, I think I just better write this disclaimer. Right on. I love that disclaimer. And then we see the title, Michael Jackson's Thriller, and the title looks like it's breathing, right? With that kind of moving letters. Okay, so we start with the movie within the movie, which is the movie that's called Thriller, where Michael is on a date, and he's driving with his girlfriend, who's played by Ola Ray, and the car comes to a halt, and he turns to her and he goes, honestly, we're out of gas. Okay, let's pretend this is real. Who goes on a date and then doesn't check to see if their car has any gas in it? Like, I don't even have to go on a date. I can go to the store. I can go to anywhere. Every single, not some of the time, not most of the time, every single time I get into my car and I check to see, am I gonna break down somewhere because I run out of gas? No, I'm gonna make sure my car has gas in it. But maybe I'm crazy, maybe that's just me. Michael Jackson apparently doesn't do that because he lives in this crazy bubble where people think that he believes in the occult if he makes a video that's based on horror films. So she goes, well, what are we gonna do now? And she's got that kind of knowing way of asking as though she thinks this is his way of like just having an excuse to park the car so he can like get fresh with her. They walk, you know, and he doesn't have his arm around her. He's not holding hands. He's got his hands in his pocket. And then it's at this point in the video, the movie that he asked her, I want to ask you a question. I just want to know if you'd like to be my girl. And then she goes, yes, and he gives her a ring. And she's like, oh, it's beautiful. And then he goes, now I've got something to tell you. Okay, this is the part where he reveals he's a werewolf. What? That's backwards. Who asks someone to be their girlfriend first and then lays the but I'm a werewolf information second? Because if you ask someone to be your girlfriend and they say yes, and then you tell them you're a werewolf, then they have to break up with you. But if you say, hey, I have something to tell you, I'm a werewolf, and then that person goes, oh, okay, well, that sucks, but do you have that under control? I'll just avoid you on full moon nights. And you're like, yeah, I got this. And then you're like, okay, you're cool with it? That's awesome. Would you be my girlfriend? Then you ask to be my girlfriend. That's the etiquette. If you are a werewolf, you ask, you share this information first, and then you ask the girl to be your girlfriend. You know, not the other way around. Because you put the person in an uncomfortable situation. And not only does he reveal to her that he's a werewolf, he does it on the night of the full moon. Michael Jackson is in such a bubble that A, he does not check the car to see if there's gas in it. He doesn't check to see if it's a full moon tonight. If you are a werewolf, every werewolf movie I've ever seen, the werewolf guy knows what nights are the full moon. And a lot of them go through great measures to not have the opportunity to wolf out and attack people, unless you're Michael J. Fox, you know? They're oh, it's a full moon, you know, like they lock themselves in the room and they might have a friend who's like, no matter what you hear, don't open the door, and not Michael Jackson, he goes on a date. Not only does he go on a date, that's the date where he knows he's gonna ask her to be his girl, because he got the ring! You don't just randomly have a ring, you plan that stuff, okay? So, his timing is magnificent because he's like, I'm different. She's like, oh, that's why I like you. No, I mean, you know, and then they show the moon, and he doesn't even have time to finish like pitching, like, no, I swear I'm a werewolf. He just turns into a werewolf. He just hunches over, right? And she's like, Michael, you okay? He's like, go away! And he like looks up, and she's like, ah! Okay, when Michael is transforming into the wolf, if I was the girl, I would just take the hell off, like at that moment. Ah! I would just run like hell. She stays and watches him transform into the wolf. His hair grows, his whiskers grow, his nails grow. There's one part that always kind of bugged me. They show one part where his whiskers is growing, but his mouth isn't really selling that he's like, ah, making sounds, but you can hear him making sounds. That's like the one part that always kind of bugged me, but I don't forgive it because it's Michael Jackson. And then he turns into a werewolf. Now there's two kinds of werewolf. There's a werewolf and there's a wolf man. A werewolf is on all fours, and a wolf man is a standing werewolf. He's a wolf man. I love his look with the M Letterman jacket, and then he like chases her, and she's running, and I love that thing where he just like hits a tree with his arm, just and the tree just falls. And so he, eventually he falls out. He catches her, and he's like getting close to her, and then we reveal this is just a movie. Michael Jackson and his date is watching a movie called Thriller in a theater. For the record, Michael Jackson watching the horror movie is like, he's like eating the popcorn, he's just stop. He's so happy. It's just like, that's me watching horror movies. He's stop. And she's like, I can't watch, and she leaves. She leaves, okay? Oh, by the way, Forrest J. Ackerman, who makes famous Monsters of Filmland, in the theater. Look for him. If you don't know who that is, that's a whole nother history lesson. Okay, so she leaves, and then he goes after her, and she's like, no, I'm not gonna watch this movie, and she leaves, and he walks after her, and that's the scene where he starts, you know, singing while he's walking. I would like to point out to you something that I don't think people really think about. They're walking. They're walking! That means they walked to the theater. Okay, so the movie, this is not the movie anymore. This is supposed to be real life. Michael Jackson went on a date with this girl, and he didn't, in the real life version, didn't pick her up. He walked to her house, I guess, and they walked to the theater. Okay, and then they're walking home, and he's like, it's close to me, and he's like singing to her, and she's all, you know, she's digging it, you know. Okay, love that song. And then they go past the graveyard, and then Vincent Price's, it's called a rap, by the way, Vincent Price's rap. Darkness falls across the land, the midnight hours close at hand. And then you hear that, and then for no reason all people are coming from the grave. And then when they come out of the grave, and then they approach Michael Jackson and Ola Ray. By the way, have I mentioned that Ola Ray was a Playboy Playmate? Yeah. Okay, so they approach Michael Jackson and Ola Ray in the deserted city. What city has like nobody on the streets? Not even cars, just empty. And then they're getting closer and closer and closer. And then she's like, and they're like back to back. And then she turns around, and then Michael Jackson is a zombie. Do you know what a zombie is? Zombie is the undead. Michael Jackson didn't die and then come back to life as a zombie. He just magically turns into a zombie. And then what happens? Because he magically turns into a zombie, all of a sudden they're not all cannibalistic. All of a sudden they have the desire to dance. Okay? So they all dance. And for the record, attention all people who make funny, hip zombie movies. Stop doing the Thriller dance in your movie. It's not funny anymore. I don't remember what time it was kind of funny, but that day is gone. And there's like a million parodies of the Thriller dance on YouTube. My favorite one, the Filipino prison. There is a prison in I think the Philippines, where the warden forces all of the inmates to dance to Thriller. They plays it on the loudspeakers, and there's no girl there. There is a guy who has to do the Ola Ray part, and they do it perfectly. Look up, I don't know, I'm sure if you just type in Michael Jackson Thriller, Filipino prison, it'll come up. That is awesome. So, and then of course, you know, sometimes he's a zombie, sometimes he's not, because he like turns back into Michael when he sings. So then afterwards, you know, he's a zombie again, and then they chase her into the house. And then they're like about to get her, and then right before they get her, he touches her, and she screams, ah! He's like, what's the problem? And she's like, oh, you know, and he's like, come on, I'll take you home. Whose house is that? Where did they go? No logic. And then he's about to leave, and then right to release, he turns to the camera, and he's got those werewolf eyes, and you hear Vincent Price laugh, ha 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 ha. And then they go back to the song, and then the credits go, and that is the end of the greatest music video of all time, Michael Jackson's Thriller. Have you seen it lately? It's just as good as it was 30 years ago, I promise you. You know, I didn't find out until years later that there was a lot of people who were scared of that video. Like, I meant like people who were younger than me, like, I don't know, as a kid that really scared me. I'm like, wow, that scared you? At no point were you like, oh, there's Michael Jackson. There's nothing scary about Michael Jackson. Okay, I love Thriller. And I love that I got to share with you my thoughts about my favorite video of all time. Subscribe to Isaac's Haunted Beard on YouTube. Subscribe to isaacshauntedbeard.blogspot.com and follow Isaac's Haunted Beard on Twitter at Isaac's Haunted B. Shamoun it! Bye!